retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience for your love with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration, feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. No pain for their disease. Just like a weed.
Oh my God, the weather, man, the weather! It's fucking weather! It is unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable how bad that it gets some days. But regardless, I'm here. I got my notepad. I got about 15 pages worth of notes, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more people filing in, and that could only mean that Saturday. You know what that means. We're live, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the one and only DJ Storms. I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to the greatest fucking show on earth, as we are streaming live on 4 different platforms across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different accounts. Rocking and rolling, getting down to the nitty and the gritty. Plenty of good material to discuss. Happy March, ladies and gentlemen. The first weekend of March and the first LFU of March. As of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn X, formerly known as Twitter, handle, no. Oh, stop what you're doing right there. I want you to take a nice big inhale, people. You already know what time it is. It's time to inhale. Inhale that oh so succulent scent. And I want you to go, oh, gotta hit it twice. So nice, gotta hit it twice. Oh, and so nice, it's so succulent, it's so glorious. You gotta hit 3 times. You gotta hit it one more time. So I want you to go, oh, shit. Do you smell that? Oh my God, you know what that is? That is the smell of pure fucking excellence. Wait for it. Wait for it. Oh yeah, man, this is the official lightning flash update for Saturday, March 2nd, 2024, as we are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, and X. And my oh my, we got another stacked edition of the LFU as we are headed towards AEW Revolution tomorrow night. It is going to be Sting's last match. Sting's last match, the end of an era. We got one hell of a card going down at Revolution tomorrow, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what happens. Very much looking forward to seeing the great matches that are about to unfold. But before we get to Revolution, the final stop is, of course, the LFU, where we will dissect the news, rumors, and reports and go over everything that happened this week in the world of professional wrestling. Thank you very much to The Shooter. Thank you very much to James Punaseca. Thank you very much to Nathan the Great. and John Blaine. I'm sure we're going to have plenty more people coming on in as my watch hours and my views are continuing to skyrocket to the top. I'm very close to that 3,000 watch hour mark. And my, oh my, you know what happens after that? I'm going to be monetized. It's going to be a wonderful day when it finally happens. But before that, we have a lot of material to go over, including a report on Drew McIntyre. There were reports going around that he signed a new deal. Those reports have been debunked. What were the original plans for Bronson Reed going into Elimination Chamber? There are a couple of people that are out with injury as the injury bug continues to bite people in the ass. TNA Wrestling, they are planning on potentially going to live television streaming. Where? We're going to discuss that. On top of that, AEW could be adding a new pay-per-view to their calendars, and that could very well result in them getting booked on HBO Max, and they're going to have their own streaming service. And then Tama Tonga could be headed to the WWE, and the Bloodline storyline could very well be shaken up sooner rather than later. All this, plus our reviews on Raw, Dynamite, SmackDown, and Rampage, and then we got Collision tonight. I will be tweeting live for it. Plenty of good material coming to you guys, and I really do hope that you guys are entertained as per usual by me. Please make sure, if you haven't already done so, to like, comment, and subscribe. Of course, you got to make sure that you follow me on my social medias, whether it be on X or Instagram, at HistoryMakerDJS. One more time, at HistoryMakerDJS, both on X and Instagram. You can also add me on my personal Facebook as well for collaborations and business inquiries. Please send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Like the official DJ Storms business page, and then maybe send me an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. That is. You can also check me out on Rumble. We're live on Rumble right now. We're trying to build a nice, solid following over on Rumble. So please show me some love over on Rumble. I see that we got 8 people watching on Rumble. Let's see if we can get some more people watching over on Rumble. Go and check me out on Rumble if you haven't already done so. On top of that, please make sure, if you haven't already done so, to like the stream no matter where you're watching it from, whether it be on Rumble, whether it be on Facebook, whether it be on X, or whether it be on YouTube. We want a nice wide outreach so that way we can get as many people in here as humanly possible. Please make sure, if you have not already done so, please make sure that you share the stream out on X, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, Twitch, whatever social media platforms that you may be using. On top of that, please make sure you hit the subscribe button, whether you're watching on my channel or the Hardcore Sports channel. It's very important that you do so because that way I'm going to grow and the Hardcore Sports brand is going to grow. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers for the Hardcore Sports channel, while we are on the road to 2,400 subscribers for your boy, baby, DJ Shizzle Dizzle. Shout out to Peanuts, Dee, and the Final Hoss who just decided to join in. If you haven't already done so, be sure to share this stream out. And of course, make sure that when you hit the subscribe button on my channel or on the Hardcore Sports channel, you hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace, because that way you're going to know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, baby, it is the absolute best fucking time to be on YouTube. And do you know why? Because it is the only time that you are going to get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here. You already know what time it is, people. Hold on, I just got to get it. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Look at that beautifully crafted magical ace black comb. Hold on, I got to blow on it. It is hot. It is sizzling. We're going to let it up right here on the LFU, the first LFU of March, with a little bit of and a dash of and a whole lot of because like hot, fresh chicken sandwiches with pepperoni and sausage pizza right out of the oven. I had that for lunch. That is just so good. I am tasty. I am succulent. I am the scrumptious snack of the IWC, and everybody wants a piece of the Stormsmeister. This should come as absolutely no secret to you. And yes, it is a known fact that I make people's lives better. And the final horse knows what's up. See, smart people, they do not acknowledge The Rock, and they do not acknowledge Roman Reigns. The smart people acknowledge DJ Shizzle Dizzle. And I think it's about time that y'all acknowledge me. Anyway, why don't we get straight into the festivities here? Now, there was a report going around from Better Wrestling Experience, who claims to be a WWE insider, and he is slowly, actually not slowly, he's rapidly losing credibility, especially after this report. Better Wrestling Experience came out with a report on Tuesday stating that Drew McIntyre had re-signed with the WWE. PW Insider actually debunked this report as being fake. They stated that nothing has changed regarding Drew McIntyre's contract situation. Everyone is working together on the assumption a new deal will be reached, but nothing has been signed as of Tuesday. Now, I do not know what is going through Drew McIntyre's head. No one knows what is going through Drew McIntyre's head outside of Drew McIntyre and the people that he is close with, whom I assume he has told about his contract situation. People like his wife or his family, any siblings that he has, whatever it may be. Now, I do not know what is going to happen. I really don't. But based off of everything that we've seen on television, I think it's safe to assume that Drew McIntyre is going to resign. WrestleMania is going to be a very, very telling day. WrestleMania is going to be a very, very telling show, because whatever happens with Drew McIntyre, whether he wins or he loses, that could very well determine where he's going following WrestleMania. As far as I know, he is still advertised for a few house shows following WrestleMania. I'm not sure if that is before his contract expires. The last time I heard, his contract is up sometime after WrestleMania, although I don't know specifically when. But listen, if Drew McIntyre is going to resign, I mean, the storyline is right there for Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. If Drew wins the World Heavyweight title, Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk is right there for SummerSlam. Assuming Punk is back by June or July, Punk and Drew is right there for SummerSlam. And you know for a fact that people are going to be looking forward to a match like that. I'm not sure where Punk is going to fit in following the match with Drew. And to be quite honest with you, I'm not sure where Drew's going to go should he lose the World Heavyweight Championship. Because listen, when Drew wins the title, he's not going to hold it for the next 5 years. This isn't going to be a Roman Reigns style world title reign with Drew McIntyre. It won't. Because Drew McIntyre is not Roman Reigns. Could they build him up like Roman Reigns? Possibly. They could possibly do something like that. But as we speak right now, do you honestly believe that Drew McIntyre is going to be built up like a Roman Reigns style champion? Of course not. It's a secondary prize. And when Drew McIntyre loses that secondary prize, he's never going to be a world champion again. He's not. So I don't know what's going to go down with Drew McIntyre. As of right now, he's not re-signed. And if you want me to be quite honest, I'm going to tell you the same thing that I've been saying. I don't want Drew to re-sign. I really don't. I don't want him to re-sign because there's really nothing left for him to do. A fresh start, a fresh coat of paint, a fresh new company for Drew McIntyre to take over, that would benefit him greatly. I realize that not everything is supposed to be about who's going where and is this guy going to go here or is that guy going to go there. I realize that not everything revolves around people jumping ship, but what can you see Drew McIntyre doing in the WWE should he win the world title and then after he loses it? At most, he's probably going to be world champion for a year. At most. He's not holding the title past next year's WrestleMania should he win the title from Rollins at this year's WrestleMania. He's not. I know there's a lot of people that are Drew McIntyre marks out there that may want to believe it, but he's not. I really do wish Drew McIntyre would leave. I wish Drew would leave because as we speak right now, I really don't want to say he's boring because he's probably been one of the best characters on WWE TV right now. He may very well be the best thing on Raw. But as we speak right now, I don't know, Drew McIntyre in WWE, he's just stale. He really is. Same thing with Seth Rollins. Like, what is there for Seth Rollins to do after he loses the World Heavyweight Championship? He's going to go back to being a glorified enhancement talent. I know a lot of people don't want to believe that, but that is the truth. It is what it is. We'll see what happens. Speaking of Seth Rollins was actually supposed to compete at the Elimination Chamber. According to Fightful, Bronson Reed was actually scheduled to challenge Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship before Seth's minor knee injury 2 months ago. Now that would have been a great match. After hearing that report, I'm actually very disappointed in what happened. Bronson Reed was supposed to fight Seth Rollins at the Elimination Chamber before Seth Rollins got hurt. I really think that this should serve as a lesson going forward that we need to stop booking these unnecessary matches that ultimately mean nothing. Like Rollins and Jinder Mahal meant absolutely nothing. I don't blame Jinder Mahal for Seth Rollins' injury. I blame creative. I blame Triple H. Triple H should have never booked that match because if he didn't, Rollins, more likely than not, would have been healthy going into the chamber, and instead of a waste of a Grayson Waller segment, which ultimately resulted in nothing more than The Rock issuing the challenge for a tag team match with Cody, himself, Roman, and Rollins, it would have actually resulted in a meaningful match that would have elevated Bronson Reed to that next level and given Seth Rollins another great match in his title reign. So I think we need to stop booking these unnecessary matches going forward. Moving on here, I got a report from Tokyo Sports by way of Fightful. Julia, she will be leaving Stardom at the end of March when her contract expires. As of this moment, she is still the New Japan Strong Women's World Champion. I see some people potentially throwing around the idea that Julia could very well fight Mercedes. I'm not really sure that it's going to go down like that, but it certainly would be something if Julia definitely shows up on Dynamite. If she does, and we get Mercedes as well, and we get Mercedes and Julia for the New Japan Strong Openweight Women's Championship, and Mercedes wins the championship right then and there, and then maybe we see Mercedes versus Toni Storm at All In, title for title. I don't know about you guys, but if Julia and the New Japan Strong Women's World Championship, if they factor into what is going on with Mercedes, I mean, that would be pretty historic if you ask me. Julia's contract is set to expire at the end of March. She is still the New Japan Strong Women's World Champion. If AEW continues to have their very, very solid relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling, in the end, we could very well see Julia appear for one show only, even though she's not signed, one show only on AEW TV to get the title off of her by having Mercedes win. If Mercedes wins the championship at Big Business from Julia and we have that shock impromptu match, that right there could lead to a bigger match later in the year with Mercedes as the New Japan Strong Women's World Champion. Toni Storm, Timeless Toni Storm, is the AEW Women's World Champion. Maybe we see Toni Storm versus Mercedes Moné in a title for title match at All In. You want to talk about starting a revolution? That right there would indeed be starting a revolution if Mercedes were to be a double champion. We're going to stick with the women. Piper Niven is actually injured as we speak. According to Fightful Select, Again, more reports from Fightful. Piper Niven suffered a hand injury a couple of weeks ago. She hasn't been wrestling in fear that she may have potentially fractured it in one or more places. One more time, people, the injury bug, it is a terrible, terrible, terrible fucking thing. I don't know where this is coming from. I'm not sure why we have such a bad string of luck in the industry right now. I'm not really sure why everyone is all of a sudden getting injured. Punk's out, and MJF is out, and Rollins had a minor knee injury, and Nikita Lyons is out, Shotzi's out, and Piper Niven's out. It's very, very sad. I really don't know why things have just spiraled. They just spiraled into a black hole. Pro wrestling, let me tell you something. If there's one thing that these injuries remind us of, is that even the most trained professionals will end up getting hurt. These men and women aren't invincible. I do wish Piper Niven the best recovery possible, because she is actually a very solid women's pro wrestler. She is a very solid women's pro wrestler, and she does deserve a lot more than just being in a fucking tag team with Chelsea Green. And my God, Chelsea Green, one of the worst acts on TV right now. She is completely and utterly fucking useless. She's useless. Let's talk about the Intercontinental Championship. The Intercontinental Championship has been a topic of discussion coming out of this past Monday night's Raw. While speaking on Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer, he noted that he initially heard that Sami Zayn would be Gunther's opponent at WrestleMania 40. However, the plans may have changed based on the tease of a multi-man match being done. On Raw this past Monday, we saw the likes of Chad Gable, Dominic Mysterio, and even Damian Priest throw their hands in the hat to potentially challenge Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 40. Now, I don't know what is going to go down. I'm not really sure how they're going to piece together the Intercontinental Championship title picture. I want to say that a multi-man match would be rather interesting, because if they do a multi-man ladder match, we could very well have Gunther lose the championship without being pinned, and he'll be protected. He'll be freed up to go and win Money in the Bank, and then potentially win the World Heavyweight Championship at some point in the summer. And that would be great. That would be awesome. But if you're asking me, the best story that they could do is Chad Gable versus Gunther. I think that Damian Priest and Gunther would be a very good match, but if you're really going to waste Damian Priest's Money in the Bank contract on a fucking mid-card title, no disrespect to Gunther, but the IC title's a mid-card title. And then you got Sami Zayn. I think Sami and Gunther would be great, but does Sami Zayn really need it? I think Chad Gable's the best option, but they're teasing a multi-man match. We'll have to sit here and wait and see how it plays out. TNA Wrestling. They are not really doing all too well as of lately. They're not really doing all too well as of lately. But regardless of that, TNA Wrestling, Dave Meltzer, he discussed TNA Wrestling and their future plans, actually. Meltzer discussed TNA Wrestling's future plans after the termination, the wrongful termination of Mr. Scott D'Amore. He discussed that their flagship show, TNA Impact, is discussing broadcasting live on weekly Access TV every Thursday. So they would be broadcasting live from 8 to 10 p.m. every single Thursday. Now, as we speak, Full Sail University has surfaced as a potential candidate, drawing attention to its prior association with the NXT Black and Gold TV product before WWE relocated to the Performance Center. Now, I'm not really sure how this is going to work out, but I'm not sure if anyone would really give a shit. I'm not sure who has Access TV. I don't even know if I have Access TV, to be quite honest with you. But if you want me to be real here, I'm not sure if anyone's really going to care. People may have cared at the start of the year with TNA, and I will give them credit. I thought that Hard to Kill was very good. Hard to Kill was a very good pay-per-view. I'm not going to sit here and say that it was a shit pay-per-view. I thought Hard to Kill was very solid for what we got. But if we're going to be honest here, if we're going to be real with ourselves here, after the termination of Scott D'Amore and the fact that they won't allow TNA a bigger budget, the fact that they won't allow TNA a bigger budget, do you honestly see things working out? Seriously, answer me that question. Do you honestly see things working out for TNA? I don't know about it. I really don't. I don't think that TNA is going to flourish as good as it would have flourished if Scott D'Amore wasn't fired. Scott D'Amore was legitimately the heart and soul of TNA. You could talk to anyone. Scott D'Amore was the heart and soul of TNA no matter how you looked at it. TNA was great because of Scott D'Amore's direction and the fact that he ran a very, very organized show. They had a great locker room. They had a sense of unity backstage. Everyone wanted to be a part of that locker room because of how great the environment was. And the fact that Scott D'Amore, he created that, and they terminated him because what, he wanted a bigger budget? I've talked about this before. It just really seems as though Axis, or Anthem rather, because Axis is just the network that they're on. It just seems like Anthem, the company that owns them, it seems like they just don't give a shit about pro wrestling. But now they're telling me that they do want to go live, as if that's not going to cost more, as if that's not going to increase the budget. Anthem apparently wants to take TNA Impact, their flagship show, to Full Sail University, and they want to broadcast live from Full Sail University. Didn't they fire Scott D'Amore because Scott D'Amore wanted to increase the budget of TNA? I really don't know what Anthem thinks is going to happen if they move to Full Sail and they go live, as if that's not going to increase the budget. I am not equipped in the wrestling business, and I don't know all of their costs and all of the expenses or how much money Anthem is spending right now, but wouldn't that result in an increase of a budget if they want to go live and they want to broadcast from Full Sail University, especially with the history that Full Sail has with the NXT live television tapings, the rich history that it has? It just seems like Anthem is a bunch of hypocrites. And it really disgusts me because TNA could have been something, and then they fired Scott D'Amore, and now they're back to being nothing. We'll move on right here. We'll move on to the story between MLW and WWE. Do you guys remember that? Because I don't. This was many, many, many years ago, many moons ago. I believe this may have been right before the pandemic or somewhere in the middle of the pandemic. I can't even believe it's been 4 years since the fucking pandemic. So after nearly 2 years of legal proceedings, WWE and MLW have reached a settlement agreement in December of 2023. The disclosure of the financial terms of the settlement, notably WWE's commitment to pay $20 million, marks a significant development in the legal saga, providing clarity of the financial ramifications for WWE arising from the antitrust lawsuit with MLW. Now, I kind of predicted this. I kind of had a feeling that it wasn't really going to result in anything more than a settlement. Because, let's be honest here, does WWE really lose court cases? They don't. They take settlements. A settlement is always reached. A settlement is reached if WWE can take a less harsher punishment and continue operating the way that they operate. They will take it because ultimately they don't care. It's a sad state, but I didn't expect this whole lawsuit with MLW to result in anything more than a settlement. What do you think was going to happen? You think MLW was going to put WWE out of business, especially after they just partnered up with the UFC to form TKO? Of course not. Let's be honest with ourselves here. Talk about TNA for a minute. One more thing regarding TNA. TNA has signed Alex Hammerstone, and they just booked Alex Hammerstone versus Josh Alexander, part number 2 for TNA Sacrifice that is coming up. So it looks like Alex Hammerstone has found himself a new home with TNA Impact, and I think he's going to do fantastic over there, especially after the match that he had with Josh Alexander. If he has another banger with Josh Alexander, I mean, that right there is really going to put him in a very, very, very good scenario. And maybe he beats Josh Alexander. Who knows? Maybe we see Alex Hammerstone challenging for the World Championship sooner rather than later. I'm going to keep my eye on that, but Alex Hammerstone is fantastic. Hammerstone is awesome. Fightful, once again, Fightful came out with a lot of reports as of lately. According to Fightful, AEW has filed for a trademark this week for the name AEW Dynasty, which is connected to a pay-per-view / special show potentially slated for April. Now, a lot of people have been complaining. Some people have been complaining regarding, oh, there's too many AEW pay-per-views now, but yet they are very, very quick to sit there and pleasure themselves to WWE's 12 pay-per-views throughout the year, all because they're on Peacock. Let me tell you something. If we are getting another AEW pay-per-view, who's to say that we are not going to see a streaming deal come into the fold? Tony Khan said that 2025 is going to be a big establishment year for AEW. If 2024 is going to be the new 2021 AEW, with all these new people coming in, and the fact that we could be getting a new pay-per-view, we're going to be getting their best people as their champions going forward, with the stories that they're telling, not perfect, but with the stories that they're telling, don't you think that a streaming deal, more likely than not, is going to become a reality? And a streaming deal, I've stated this numerous amounts of times, a streaming deal is going to help them. This special show, if this is indeed a pay-per-view, AEW Dynasty, this could very well result in a gateway towards their streaming deal. With AEW potentially introducing a new pay-per-view, AEW Dynasty it's being called, after they recently filed for the trademark, you don't think that this could result in a streaming service deal being announced with an HBO Max? I believe that Warner Brothers, ESPN, and Fox, they recently just joined forces in a partnership. I talked about this a couple weeks ago on the LFU. That could very well result in AEW becoming a part of that. More pay-per-views and a streaming deal, that is going to be part of the evolution and the expansion of AEW. That's going to give AEW the opportunity to be in front of more people on that streaming deal that we may not have known have been wrestling fans before, or if they're just coming around and they're new fans. This is going to open up AEW to a whole new world of eyes. It's going to help them financially. It is going to help them in terms of their ticket sales, their ratings. It will help them overall. Okada. Kazuchika Okada. He is done with New Japan Professional Wrestling, and he said that he will never be back. Fightful reported that AEW plans to have Okada on the show in AEW as soon as the March 6th episode of Dynamite. So if they play their cards right, we're going to have a great show tomorrow, and we could very well see Kazuchika Okada show up on AEW Dynamite on Wednesday, and then we got Mercedes the week after. I mean, holy shit, March is going to be one of the most newsworthy months for AEW TV in a long, long time. And I'm all for it. Give me Okada. You know for a fact that we're going to get Okada Bryan 3. We got to get Okada versus Omega on American soil. And all the other matches that Okada could have, Hangman Page, Swerve Strickland, Samoa Joe, Eddie Kingston, Jon Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli. Claudio said he wants Okada. Claudio has stated numerous times that he wants Okada. I would love to see Claudio and Okada. That right there is one match that I never thought I ever needed. So I'm looking forward to that. That is something that I'm really looking forward to. And then my final report before we get into the news, rumors, and reports wrap up, and then we go into our weekly show reviews. The weekly shows, we got a lot to dissect regarding these weekly shows. Wrestling Observer newsletter. They covered Tama Tonga's exit to New Japan Pro Wrestling, and they stated that Tama Tonga could very well be headed to the WWE. Now, we talked about this a couple of times. We talked about this a couple of times in the past. We've acknowledged how good Tama Tonga really is. However, we never thought that he would actually end up in the WWE. But this is a new era. This is a new era. This is not Vince McMahon's WWE anymore. This is Triple H's WWE. Things are a lot different under Triple H. Things are much more relaxed under Triple H. The locker room environment is a hell of a lot better than what's going on with Vince McMahon, or what was going on with Vince McMahon. And on top of that, you have this Bloodline storyline going on right now. Cody Rhodes, listen. I'm going to talk about this more, but whatever's going on with The Rock and Roman and Cody and Rollins and this tag team match that's going on, people are marking out over it and saying that they're excited for it, and it's unpredictable this and it's unpredictable that. It's not unpredictable. This is as predictable as you can get. And I know exactly where they're going. And if it doesn't happen the way that I'm envisioning it, I would be dead shocked. I would be dead shocked if it doesn't happen the way that I'm envisioning it. And we'll talk about it. We will talk about it when we get to the SmackDown portion of the stream. But as far as Tama Tonga goes, Tama Tonga could very well make the Bloodline storyline interesting again. We could very well see Tama Tonga be brought in by The Rock. Maybe he comes in at WrestleMania. Tama Tonga could help The Rock in a Bloodline Civil War potentially against Roman Reigns. Maybe we see Jey Uso jump into the fray. Maybe we get Rock, Tama Tonga, and Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, and Solo Sikoa. Because ultimately, the storyline here would be to break the bloodline away from Roman, and we are going to get a new bloodline. We're going to get a new bloodline potentially led by a Tama Tonga or a Solo Sikoa, where everyone is treated as equals, and Roman Reigns is not the tyrannical leader taking food off of everyone's plate and making sure everyone serves him, making sure he eats the best, and everyone else just gets table scraps. But Tama Tonga, he could very well be the shot of adrenaline that the Bloodline storyline needs. Tama Tonga is officially done with New Japan Pro Wrestling. He could be headed to WWE. I don't care what is going on with The Rock. I don't care what is going on with Roman Reigns or how you want to spin things. Whatever is going on with the Bloodline is stale. The Bloodline is lame, no matter how you want to look at it. You may want to mark out over it because, oh my God, it's The Rock, and oh my God, we got so much stuff going on with the Bloodline. It's lame. But Tama Tonga coming on in, someone whom we've never seen in WWE, that right there is going to make us think, oh, who is he going to side with? Is he going to side with The Rock, or is he going to side with Roman Reigns? We could very well be headed down the barrel of a new Bloodline Civil War with The Rock, Tama Tonga, and Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns, Jimmy, and Solo, and that could break Solo and Jimmy away from Roman. So I'm looking forward to seeing Tama Tonga in WWE. It's something new, it's something fresh, and it's something that we never thought would have been possible. Now we're getting something new. We're getting something new with someone who we've never seen in the WWE, and someone that could make the Bloodline interesting again. The Bloodline has not been interesting since the summer of last year. Ever since they had Jimmy turn on Jay, that Bloodline shit has just gone downhill. Talking about what inning we're in the top of the third or the bottom of the second. Fuck your innings. Fuck your innings. We're not in the third inning. No, we're in the fucking 33rd inning. It is fucking 5 a.m. in the morning. You guys have been going back and forth for 3 times the amount of innings that you should have gone back and forth. A lot of people are tired. A lot of people want to go the fuck home and get ready for a new game. The game reached its peak last year. The game reached its peak last year. What is going on with my mic? What is going on with my mic, Hooligan? What the fuck's going on? Let me check. What the fuck is going on with my mic? Hang on. Why do I have, do I have an echo? Do I have an echo now? Hang on. Is it better now? Is it better now? There we go. How long was that mic going for? How long was that mic going for? I need to go back. Now I need to go back and I need to check how long was I having that mic issue. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. How the fuck did I have that mic issue for the last 40 fucking minutes? It's unbelievable. I thought I had this mic issue all sorted out. It is unbelievable. I'm going to be pissed off. I'm telling you. I'm going to watch this back and I'm going to be pissed off. Anyway. That's all I got for you. That's all I got for you as far as the news, rumors, and reports go. And we are going to get into our weekly show reviews. We got a lot to talk about as far as the weekly shows go. Let's talk about Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw was actually a very, very, very focused show. Monday Night Raw was a very focused show. We got a lot of good material with Monday Night Raw. We actually kicked off the show with Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley came out. Crowd was chanting for Mommy. She relished in her victory at the Elimination Chamber before Becky Lynch interrupted. She said that she was happy, and she congratulated Rhea Ripley. She praised Rhea Ripley's performance at the Chamber, and she then said, now your family won't have to travel to WrestleMania to watch you lose. Dom then tried to butt in. The crowd booed. Becky then said, if your mommy won't put you in your place, then the man will. Becky then praised Rhea's run, but she said that you've spent most of your time being fed grapes by this loser. And she pointed to Dom. She goes, I've been the backbone of this company. Wow. What did I write down? I can't even read my own fucking handwriting. It's unbelievable. While writing a best-selling book. It's unbelievable. I swear to God, I take these fucking notes as if my hand is trying to be the Flash. Can't even read my own fucking handwriting. So, I was the backbone of this company while writing a best-selling book. Rhea then congratulated Becky. She said that it's about time that you did something to step up to my level. It's about time that you stopped disappointing me. The man always thinks that they're the backbone of everything, but behind every man is an even greater woman. But I'm not behind you because mommy is always on top. And that was pretty much that. A decent enough start to this program. We'll see where it goes, but it wasn't bad. They certainly weren't giving away everything that they had to offer. And I mean, why would they? It's just the start.
So afterwards, Nia then attacked Becky, leg drop on Becky. She then delivered a second one, and officials came out to stop Nia Jax. And we're getting a Nia Jax versus Becky Lynch match next week, and that will be the end of that program. Becky will finally dispatch of Nia Jax. Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura. This was a very good match. Sami Zayn and Shinsuke Nakamura, they delivered a very good performance. We had a Meishinuku driver by Sami for a 2 count, tornado DDT, Nakamura with a kitchen sink, and a gourd buster on the apron. Coming back from a commercial, we had a rebound kick by Nakamura, Blue Thunder Bomb by Sami for a 2, Nakamura with a middle rope Kinshasa to the back. Sami Zayn kicked out. We had a knee to Sami Zayn while he was draped over the apron. Zayn then beat the count. We had a Kinshasa, but Zayn got his foot on the rope. Zayn with a haluva kick. He then went to the corner again and delivered a second haluva kick, and Sami Zayn gets the win. Sami Zayn finally got himself a solid win on WWE television. Now, I may as well talk about this again because I talked about this earlier in the stream. Sami Zayn had a little stare down with Imperium after the match backstage, and Gunther actually laughed at him. Dave Meltzer reported that they're apparently planning some sort of multi-man match for the IC title. The IC title scene is looking very unpredictable as we speak. I think that if they want to go forth with a multi-man match for the IC title, that should be fine, and it could be very, very, very good for a lot of people in there, whether it be Priest or Sami or Gunther. But as we speak right now, the best individual that has the best possible story would be Chad Gable. Chad Gable, he stated months back that he is looking to beat Gunther because Gunther embarrassed him in front of his children. Sami Zayn, if you ask me, Sami doesn't really need the Intercontinental Championship. And Damian Priest, I mean, he's looking to cash in his Money in the Bank contract for a mid-card championship. How does that really make him look good? Doesn't really sit well with me. And Dominic Mysterio, I mean, no one's going to take Dominic Mysterio seriously against Gunther. A multi-man match could very well protect Gunther in defeat, and then he can go on to win Money in the Bank and win the World Heavyweight title, but Chad Gable, to me, is the best possible opponent for Gunther at WrestleMania. We had Chelsea Green versus Raquel Rodriguez. Chelsea Green was given time to speak on the microphone and said that she is competing in protest. You know what I'm going to do, Chelsea? I think I'm going to go and I'm going to go protest the fact that you are on television because you fucking suck. Raquel wins with the Tahana Bomb, and that was it. Imperium, they came out to address the crowd. They were relishing in Gunther's victory over Jey Uso last week. He gave Jey his props. Gunther says that nobody's perfect, but he is very, very close. He says that he's been making this title the most prestigious title in the company. Who is going to be my opponent at WrestleMania? He then named a few people before the Judgment Day came out. Damian Priest then praised Gunther. Priest then said that we run the table and we are planning on adding more gold to WrestleMania, and that includes that gold. Dom then stepped up, as if anyone's going to take Dom seriously against Gunther. Crowd booed. Gunther then shoved Dom. Dom was held back by the Judgment Day as Priest got angry, and Priest said that title will be coming to the Judgment Day. Not sure if they are going to go forth with the multi-man match. Again, it would protect Gunther, but Chad Gable is the best possible scenario to me. New Day took on Imperium in a street fight. So we had a brawl starting out on the stage. Woods then whacked Vinci and Kaiser with a trombone. New Day then with a double plancha onto Imperium. Coming back from commercial, Kaiser then got a chair. They beat down Woods. They beat down Woods with the chair. We had a double drop kick with the chair to Woods. Kofi then with a crossbody on Vinci. Body slam to Kaiser on top of Vinci. Kofi then brought out a table. We had a double suplex by Imperium. Imperium then with a kendo stick shots to Woods. Kofi then with a knee to Kaiser. Clothesline by Vinci. Kendo stick shots to Woods. Woods' knee was then crushed by a chair. Coming back from commercial, Vinci was driven through the table. New Day hit Daybreak before Kaiser pulled the ref out of the ring. Vinci then tossed Kofi off the top rope through another table, and Woods was then sent headfirst into a chair, and Woods was rolled up by Kaiser, and Woods loses the match. Imperium gets the win. Great match, probably the best match on the show, and absolutely the right outcome. Very, very happy to see that we got ourselves a great match, right outcome, and Imperium, it's not just Gunther anymore, Imperium are looking great as well. Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark versus Indy Hartwell and Zoe Stark. Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae. Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae versus Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler ended up winning the match via Shayna Baszler making Indy Hartwell tap out. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? I'm telling you, it is a sad, sad, sad state for the women's tag team division. There should be no such thing as a women's tag team division. It doesn't fucking work. Drew McIntyre, he came out to address the crowd. He then said, "Thank you, we are going to WrestleMania." He then said that he blew his eardrum out, and the doctor told him that he may miss WrestleMania. Drew then said, "Who do you think I am, CM Punk?" He then sat in the ring Indian style like CM Punk, and he said that he was going to drink twice as much for Punk, considering that Punk doesn't drink. Rollins was then invited out to the ring. Rollins came out. He then congratulated Drew. He says, "Now you have a chance to win the world title in front of a capacity crowd. But there is one thing standing in your way. That one thing is a visionary. That one thing is a revolutionary. That one thing is Seth freaking Rollins." So Rollins was then told by Drew that you don't need the bloodline and whatever's going on with the bloodline and Cody in your life. He says, this isn't about Cody. This isn't about The Rock. This isn't about Roman. It's none of your business. And it's none of my business either. My business is the World Heavyweight title. For your sake and my sake, back off. Seth then told Drew that he respects what Drew is saying, but he said that some risks are just worth taking. Some risks are worth taking. Seth then told Drew that my knee might not be ready. My back might give out. But, what if you're wrong, Drew? What if Mania is not an easy night for you? I have been selfish in my life, but every time I reach a goal, I feel empty. And it wasn't until I had my daughter that I realized that not everything is about me. We need to take care of the bloodline because they want power. They want power, and it's only a matter of time before they come for the World Heavyweight title. So what if my knee does hold up and we can rip the bloodline apart? Then it's just you and me for the World Heavyweight title, and may the best man win. Some risks are worth taking. And that was it. Man, Seth Rollins has been killing it as of lately. Seth Rollins and his promo game has been awesome. Seth Rollins, in the last couple of weeks, especially, in the last couple of months with Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins has been cutting some of the best promos of his entire life. And everything that he has done more than Cody, Rock, and Roman combined. It is unbelievable how good Seth Rollins has been coming into 2024 with his promo game. Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan took on Nia Jax, and this led to a disqualification. However, I did not mind the disqualification, nor did I mind the back and forth between Liv Morgan and Nia Jax. They actually worked very well together. Becky Lynch came in. She caused a DQ, and we're going to have Becky versus Nia next week. Liv Morgan was not too pleased with what Becky did, so there could be some tensions brewing in between Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch. Cody Rhodes and Grayson Waller. Cody Rhodes and Grayson Waller legitimately lasted 9 minutes. Grayson Waller was made to look like a bum, and Cody Rhodes gets the win. Very bland match. All of a sudden, Paul Heyman comes out with security. He then told Cody that these are off-duty New York PD people with him. Actually, not off-duty, suspended members of the New York PD. Heyman then told Cody to keep The Rock's name out of his mouth. Heyman then asked Cody to withdraw his challenge from The Rock or else. Cody then says, or else what? You want to know why I haven't trashed The Rock? It's because we were all once fans of The Rock, but I am fed up with being nice. And if this is a Bloodline setup, then like I said, come get me. Paul then said, I have a better idea. The New York PD members then surrounded Cody. Cody dropped them all. And then he said that the Bloodline is not hunting me. He is hunting the Bloodline. And Cody Rhodes ended up standing tall, leading towards SmackDown, where we got the official confirmation of what is going on. Was not a bad show at all. Very good show. Very good show. Can't really sit here and complain about Monday Night Raw. And Monday Night Raw and the Chamber, those two shows, the Chamber and Raw, those two shows have actually done more to build up for WrestleMania than anything that has gone on WWE TV in the last 2 months. Finally, it is now starting to feel like we are on the road to WrestleMania. And I'm very much looking forward to that. Hangman Page. He was the guy that kicked off Dynamite. Dynamite was actually a very solid show. We got a lot of good material coming out of Dynamite, and we got a huge card for Revolution tomorrow. Very much looking forward to it. Dynamite kicked off with Hangman Adam Page in a crutch. Crowd was chanting cowboy shit. Page says that this doesn't look like a very promising start to his speech. And I could tell that it wasn't real. I could tell that whatever was going on wasn't real because Hangman would be showing a little bit more emotion. But he says, AEW was a goal for me to make the most out of the world in front of me. And I'd like to think winning the world title was the biggest accomplishment of my life. But then I have this. I'm not going to apologize to Swerve or Samoa Joe, but I will not be able to compete at at Revolution. All of a sudden, out comes Swerve. Swerve comes out, Nana doing the dance. Swerve then said, these last 6 months, man, we've been to war. I didn't really expect this to happen. I targeted you because I had the utmost respect for what you accomplished in AEW. And that is the truth. But if there's one thing that is held true, it's that you can't stop my destiny. And my destiny awaits me at Revolution when I become the new world champion. Out came Samoa Joe. Joe then said, what do we have here? Two bitter enemies trying to hug it out. I've watched you boys stare daggers at each other, avoiding me because you know who the real man in this battle is. He said, Hangman, or should I call you Hopalong, you are battle-tested, as are you, Swerve. You are hungry, accomplished wrestlers. And you're hungry because I've been starving your asses. I am Samoa Joe, and no matter how things turn out on Sunday, I'm whipping both of your asses. Swerve then said that he went from unemployed to headlining pay-per-views, from being a cruiserweight to challenging for the world title. He said, I've trespassed on another man's home and threatened his infant child, all to raise the bar. I am a game changer. And when you lose that title, you may as well go back to commentary wearing a poncho. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I will be your new world champion. Whose house? Swerve's house. All of a sudden, when Swerve was in the middle of his promo, Hangman just bashed Swerve from behind with the crutch and says that I got a lot left. I can go. I will be at Revolution. You will not be world champion. I'm going to be world champion. It was exactly what needed to happen. It was a perfectly laid out segment. It was all a setup. It was all a setup. And you want to know why this is great? Because this furthers the Hangman heel turn. I stated this on the rundown with Jess on Thursday. I'll say it once and I'll say it again, and I will continue to say it. Hangman faked a knee injury on Dynamite. Hangman faked a knee injury on Dynamite. Hangman is no longer the hero in this story. He started out as the hero, and Swerve was the villain because he trespassed on his house. He trespassed in his home, and he threatened his infant kid. But now, Hangman's obsession with Swerve Strickland, this is ultimately going to turn him into a psychopath. It's going to turn him heel. It's going to make him a Randy Orton 2009-esque heel where he's going to be sadistic. He's going to go out and attack everyone. He's going to take shortcuts. He's going to do whatever he needs to do to make sure that Swerve does not get ahead of him and he does not become the world champion. Swerve's popularity has overtaken Hangman's popularity. And the next chapter of this storyline, it's going to be written right before our eyes, and it is going to be fantastic. This is exactly what needed to happen. Nobody wants to boo Swerve Strickland. No one is going to boo Swerve Strickland after everything that Swerve has done to showcase to everyone that he's a main event level talent. He's on Hangman's level. Matter of fact, you could say, as of right now, with how popular Swerve is, you could say that he has surpassed Hangman's level. He is where Hangman was back in 2021 when he was going after the World Heavyweight Championship. That's where Swerve is right now. And now we're going to see a whole new world of possibilities unfold. And that is why I do believe that tomorrow we will see a new world champion, and his name will be Hangman Adam Page. And Hangman will now keep that title hostage because he cannot let Swerve get it. He cannot let Swerve get it. And then after all is said and done, Swerve is ultimately going to be the guy to take it off of Hangman at All In. Blackpool Combat Club, they took on Eddie Kingston and FTR. This was a nice little appetizer towards what we're going to get at Revolution tomorrow, because we got Blackpool Combat Club members Claudio and Moxley taking on FTR, and then we got Eddie Kingston taking on Bryan. It's going to be one hell of a pay-per-view, and those two matches I got my eyes on. The Blackpool Combat Club ended up taking this. And Eddie Kingston, he was the one that took the fall, but Eddie Kingston was actually protected in defeat. He did not tap out. And he was not pinned. Eddie Kingston passed out, and he was protected. Bryan Danielson, he locked him in a triangle chokehold. Eddie Kingston could not answer the referee, and this is all leading towards Bryan inevitably losing to Kingston, because Bryan, he doesn't need the championship. Bryan is a guy that is more than willing to take a loss. He doesn't care about anything. Bryan just wants to wrestle. Bryan just wants to wrestle, and Bryan wants to compete against the best. And with this storyline with Eddie Kingston, Bryan is going to have no problem putting Kingston over. That's what's going to happen. Kingston is going to be put over by Bryan, and Kingston is going to continue his momentum as the Continental Crown Champion. And if there's one guy that deserves it, it is Eddie Kingston. Tony Schiavone, he was in the ring and he introduced Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay was all smiles. He was thanking the fans. Fans were chanting Ospreay before the Don Callis family came out. And the Don Callis family, they came out, and Don Callis was hyping up this match. This ended up with a handshake between Takeshita and Will Ospreay. And Takeshita and Will Ospreay, they actually pulled each other back and stared each other down. So it looks like this is just a little tease towards the heel turn. And again, this is a great thing too, because Will Ospreay doesn't need the Don Callis family. We talked about this numerous amounts of times. Hell, I talked about it with Jess on Thursday. Will Ospreay is not in need of the Don Callis family. Takeshita, fine. Hobbs, fine. Fletcher, I think Fletcher's going to go back with Will Ospreay, but as we speak right now, Ospreay is great on his own. And we need a strong babyface as well. We need a strong babyface since MJF is out. Cassidy is great, but he's not that babyface. Kingston is great. He's not that babyface. Will Ospreay could be that babyface, that face of the company style babyface, at least until MJF comes back. So I see that heel turn happening. Speaking of Orange Cassidy, no disrespect to Orange Cassidy, he took on Nick Wayne. This was an open challenge match for the AEW International Championship. Let me tell you something. Nick Wayne is in no way, shape, or form a main event level talent. He's not. Nick Wayne is not a main event level talent, but holy shit, does he wrestle like one? Holy shit, does Nick Wayne wrestle like a main event level talent? Nick Wayne is a very good wrestler. And if he continues the hot streak that he's on, he's going to be a very, very, very solid player on AEW television in due time. This was a very good match for what it was. And ultimately, it resulted in Orange Cassidy getting the win. Orange Cassidy got the win. And Orange Cassidy, he was attacked by the Undisputed Kingdom. One last build, one last little send-off towards next week, where next week, I do believe that Orange Cassidy will not be the international champion anymore because he doesn't need it anymore. Orange Cassidy does not need the international championship, and I think it's time that we get Orange Cassidy up the ladder, probably move him into the TNT title picture, maybe move him into the world title picture, because right now the international championship, it's in need of some new blood. And Roderick Strong could be that new blood. And on top of that, you need to build up the Undisputed Kingdom. You need to build up the Undisputed Kingdom as a credible threat. And in order to do that, they need some gold. Roderick Strong is the guy to take the title off of Orange Cassidy. It needs to happen. Chris Statlander, she took on Sky Blue. And this was a very good women's match. I've been keeping an eye on the women's division this year, and we have been getting some damn good matches from the women's division. Chris Statlander and Sky Blue, this was no different. This was a very good match. The improvement of Sky Blue has been a great thing to watch. And Chris Statlander is one of the best. No matter how you look at it, Chris Statlander is one of the best that they got. And this was a very good women's match. Statlander was in early control. She was using her power early on. Nice step-up knee by Sky Blue. Sky Blue was actually military pressed by Statlander over the barricade onto a bunch of planted fans, obviously, but Chris Statlander using her power. We had a back elbow by Statlander, a big knee lift in the corner, and a power slam. I love Chris Statlander's power slam. We had a neck breaker and a super kick by Sky Blue for a 2 count. Both women were then on the apron. Sky Blue was then hit with a German suplex on the apron. Sky then sent Statlander into the steps. Back in the ring, we had a Canadian Destroyer by Sky Blue. Very nicely done. Canadian Destroyer connects. Cradle by Sky Blue. That got a 2 count. Statlander then with a Michinoku driver for another 2 count. Stokely was trying to tell Statlander to use the steel chain. Stokely actually caused a distraction, allowing Julia Hart to hit Statlander with the TBS Championship. And then we got a code blue on Chris Statlander by Sky Blue. And Sky Blue gets a major, major win. And I'm liking that Sky Blue got this major win because I think Sky Blue, as we speak right now, I think that she is perhaps one of the brightest young stars that the women's division has. And as we speak, Sky Blue getting this win, hell, she could be a TBS champion sooner rather than later. I'd like to see more of this. Really, really, really good match between these two. Solid stuff. They work very well together. And Sky Blue got a major win. Good on her. This is all leading towards the tag team match that we got on 0 Hour. It's going to be Statlander and Willow versus Julia and Sky Blue, which should be very good. Chris Jericho. He was in a match against Atlantis Jr. And Atlantis Jr., this was the first time I saw Atlantis Jr. And this CMLL partnership, I got to say, this CMLL partnership is making for some really good matches on AEW TV. From a wrestling standpoint, this CMLL partnership has really delivered some quality in-ring action. Some people are actually telling us that it almost reminds them a little bit of the Luchadors, the Cruiserweights on WCW. Now, I wasn't around during the WCW days, but it does have a little bit of Lucha Invasion style feel. And Chris Jericho, even at his age, Chris Jericho is very good at what he does. And working with a young guy like Atlantis Jr., you knew that it was going to be a very, very, very good performance from both men. Chris Jericho, he was on. Chris Jericho was on. Atlantis Jr. was on. I really don't know what they're going to do with Chris Jericho, though. I don't want to make it seem like I'm discrediting Chris Jericho, but there's really nothing left for him to do. It almost seems as though Chris Jericho, he's kind of stagnant right now. Who is there left for Jericho to feud with? Unless they want to experiment and maybe have him go down to Ring of Honor again, but I don't think they're going to revisit that. Maybe we have Jericho potentially going for the International Championship. Maybe we see Jericho and Roderick Strong for the International Championship. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that whatsoever. Here's the thing. Jericho, he's been developing a great string of matches for himself. He had a solid match with Matt Sydal on Rampage. He had a great match with Konosuke Takeshita a few weeks ago. He had a very good match here with Atlantis Jr. He put over Takeshita by tapping out to his own finishing maneuver. So Jericho, he knows how to get new talent over. But I don't know where he goes right now. I don't know where he goes. He just feels like he's in a stagnant position. I'm not sure if he needs to turn heel. I'm not sure if he needs to stay babyface. I don't know. Maybe Jericho versus Roderick Strong for the International Championship. Maybe that could work. Maybe Jericho and Daniel Garcia. Maybe Daniel Garcia wins the TNT Championship and Jericho turns heel to try and help get Daniel Garcia more over as the TNT Champion. That would actually be fine. I don't think we ever seen a Daniel Garcia-Chris Jericho match. We may have been on the route to seeing that, but they did a complete 180 on us. But this was a very good match. Atlantis Jr., he delivered a tope suicida. We then had Jericho with a Hurricane Rana to Atlantis Jr. into the steps. We had Jericho hitting some chops. Jericho then with an arm drag off the top for a 2 count. We had a wheelbarrow German suplex by Atlantis Jr. Atlantis Jr., he got some power. I will admit that. Jericho then with a bulldog off of the top rope to Atlantis Jr. Power slam by Jericho. We had Atlantis Jr. with a tope con hero. Crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." Jericho had Atlantis Jr. up on the buckle. We had a Hurricane Rana off the middle rope. Atlantis Jr., and this was a great transition right here. Atlantis Jr. had Jericho in a torture rack. He started spinning around with him in the torture rack. Jericho spun out of it, landed on his feet, and pulled Atlantis Jr. down into the walls, and Atlantis Sr. had to throw in the towel, so Atlantis Jr. did not tap out because he could not see his son continuing to get beaten down by Chris Jericho. And that was that. Again, don't really know where Jericho goes, but Jericho's been delivering some solid matches as of lately. So I guess that's a plus, but in terms of a creative direction, it just seems like Jericho is just there. Again, no disrespect to him. He's one of the greatest of all time, and he can still wrestle with the best. It's just, he's got nowhere to go. It feels like he's done it all. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but for one night, it was a very good match with Atlantis Jr., and that was pretty much that. We had the Young Bucks, or excuse me. I'm sorry. Nicholas and Matthew Jackson, your company EVPs. Nicholas and Matthew Jackson, they made their entrance looking like Godfather knockoffs, looking like complete douchebags. Love it. Darby, out of nowhere, Darby came out of the crowd and attacked the Young Bucks. All of a sudden, Ric Flair came out, and we all thought that Ric Flair, he was pretty much turning on Darby and Sting. But it turns out that the Young Bucks got played by Ric Flair. Ric Flair with an eye poke on Matt Jackson. He then was punching Nick. All of a sudden, Matt Jackson came up from behind and low-blowed him. They low-blowed Rick. They low-blowed Rick. They started beating down on Rick. Great heel heat from Alabama. Alabama was actually a very nice crowd. So I got to give my props to Alabama. Alabama, I thought that it was just going to be a random hick town, but Alabama was actually very, very good. So then we had Sting's music hit. Sting was lowered down from the rafters in a great callback to his WCW days. Lowered down from the rafters. Sting then knocked the bats out of Matthew and Nicholas's hands and then delivered a scorpion death drop on Nick Jackson. Darby hit a coffin drop to the floor onto Nicholas and Matthew. And Sting, Darby, and Ric Flair stood tall as Sting celebrated his final Dynamite as an in-ring performer. I thought that was a fantastic callback. Young Bucks, they have hit everything right. They've done everything right with this heel turn. The only thing that I have a problem with regarding this match on Sunday is the fact that it's for the tag team titles. If this wasn't for the tag team titles, then you know what? It would be a lot better. Because here's the thing. I think Sting and Darby winning the titles, it was a great moment for them. A great moment for Sting, and it really caps off a great career for Sting, a great run in AEW, a great opportunity to end his career on his terms. And by the way, the video package that AEW put together for Sting was fantastic. The issue with them winning the titles is that it makes the match predictable. Because the Young Bucks are going to have to win. Realistically speaking, I thought the Young Bucks were going to win anyway. Because ultimately that's how a retirement goes. When you retire by laying on your back, looking up at the lights, and putting over your opponent. That's how a retirement in wrestling works. The only individual that should have retired in victory should have been The Undertaker. The only individual that should have retired completely undefeated, untouched, the only individual that earned that right was The Undertaker. Undertaker should have retired undefeated at WrestleMania, End of story, period. I do not want to hear a fucking peep out of anybody. I don't. However, with Sting and Darby fighting the Bucks without the titles, it would have made the match a little bit more unpredictable to a point where you wouldn't have known, oh man, nothing's on the line right here. Sting is trying to defend his honor because the Young Bucks attacked his sons, and the Young Bucks want to destroy Sting's legacy, and they want to eradicate the legacy of the old timers, right? And it would have made for a better story to a point where no one could have predicted who was going to win, whether it would have been the Bucks or whether it would have been Sting and Darby. But now that Sting and Darby are the tag team champions, they have no choice but to give the Bucks the titles, because if Sting goes out on Wednesday and then relinquishes the titles after he and Darby retain, I mean, I'm sorry, but that shit's terrible. That's garbage. There should be no such thing as title relinquishment unless said individual is injured. Unless you are injured and you physically cannot defend the championship, you should win the title and you should lose the title. That's how it works. If Sting and Darby relinquish the title, it is going to invalidate the titles. I shit on it when Samoa Joe relinquished the Ring of Honor World Television title. I shit on it then, and I will shit on it now if Darby and Sting win the match. I don't care if it's Sting's last match or not. Whether or not you want to admit it, the Young Bucks winning, that is the best decision, because you cannot have the tag team titles look bad. You're giving the tag team titles a spotlight in the main event of the show, because it's going to be the main event. Sting is the main event, and I don't think anyone's going to have a problem with that. Sting is the main event of the show. The tag team titles are going to be at its highest of high in the main event of the show. You cannot bring them from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows by having Darby and Sting relinquish the titles. I am sorry, whether you want to admit it or not, and this is a fact, titles being relinquished like that when no one is injured, relinquishing a championship devalues the prestige of said championship. I'm sorry, but it has to happen. The Young Bucks need to win the titles. And by the Young Bucks winning the titles, whoever beats the Bucks is going to be a mega babyface team. Whether it be Blackpool Combat Club, whether it be Bullet Club, whether it be the Acclaimed again, whether it be Top Flight, whether it be Private Party. Listen, we got a revitalization of the tag team division. You take a look at the tag team division in 2024 for AEW. The tag team division has been revitalized. Look at the tag team matches that we've been getting this year alone. Private Party and Top Flight. The House of Black versus FTR. Blackpool Combat Club versus FTR. We're going to get that. Sting and Darby versus Ricky Starks and Big Bill. Sting and Darby versus the Young Bucks. Young Bucks versus Top Flight. We've been getting excellent tag team wrestling. Continue that and continue the prestige of those titles by giving the Bucks the tag team titles. Now, if it was up to me, I would probably have Sting go out on top, but this is for the titles. These are for the titles. Sting is to do the right thing, and Sting is going to lay on his back, and he's going to drop the titles to the Bucks, and he's going to go into retirement with his head held high. Nice sell. It was a nice sell, though. It was a very nice sell for Revolution, and we got ourselves one hell of a card. We got the tag team title match. We got the three-way for the world title. We got FTR versus Blackpool Combat Club. We got Kingston versus Bryan. We got Daniel Garcia and Christian Cage. We got ourselves Roddy and Orange Cassidy. We got ourselves Will Ospreay and Takeshita. I think this Revolution is going to be the best Revolution that they've done. You take a look at those matches. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory to me. Moving on here. That was Dynamite. We're actually moving through things pretty quickly. SmackDown. We got ourselves, I want to say it was a decent show. We did get some build towards WrestleMania. We got ourselves a promo with The Rock and Roman to kick off the show, and we got ourselves a match pretty much being confirmed for WrestleMania night number 1. We also got ourselves an announcement that Logan Paul will be returning to SmackDown next week, which I'm assuming he's going to start his feud with Randy Orton. LA Knight is looking for AJ Styles. That match is going to be confirmed for WrestleMania. The one thing that stuck out to me the most was Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar. Rey Mysterio is now back. Rey Mysterio is back and he's fully healthy. And now Santos Escobar, he has his match for WrestleMania. It's going to be Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar, and Escobar is going to get a big victory at WrestleMania 40. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to Escobar, and I'm looking forward to Rey Mysterio. So the Bloodline kicked off the show. The Bloodline was in the ring. Crowd was chanting for Cody. Roman was pissed off. Roman said that you're really pushing my buttons, or I'm running thin of patience with you, Glendale, Arizona. So Heyman said, listen, we will hear from The Rock after this commercial break. So The Rock comes out. Crowd is chanting Rocky like a bunch of fucking sheep, like a bunch of fucking mindless inbreds. Rock then called Phoenix crackheads and meth heads, and that's why I will never, ever, ever go to Phoenix, Arizona. I will never be traveling to Arizona because, unless I'm a part of a wrestling company, of course, but I will never be traveling to Arizona because Phoenix, Arizona is the drug capital of the world. Bunch of fucking losers down there. So Rock then acknowledged Cody's challenge, and he said no, because the world doesn't work the way that you want it to. Cody, are you an idiot? You got the biggest match of your life against Roman, and you're challenging The Rock? The Rock then said, I have a counter offer. He then leads the crowd in pretty much them eating out of the palm of his hand, pretty much like The Rock does. He then lays down the challenge. Night 1 of WrestleMania, the biggest tag team match in pro wrestling history. Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins versus The Rock and Roman. We'll give you a shot. If you beat us, your title match will be free of the Bloodline. But if you lose, and you will lose, said The Rock, then it's Bloodline rules. Anything goes. Maybe Jimmy is the referee. Maybe Solo sings the national anthem. Maybe The Rock will take a chair and bash your brains in, and it will be legal. You meet us next week and you give us your answer. All of a sudden, he went to do his normal Rock catchphrase, but Roman stopped him. Roman then said, I'll do anything for my family, but I need you to do one thing. Acknowledge me. The Rock then stared down Roman. He took off his glasses and he said, Roman Reigns, my family, I acknowledge you as my tribal chief. They then embraced hands. They then hugged. And the crowd was chanting, you sold out. The Rock then did his catchphrase. And then The Rock gave the microphone to Roman and he finished the catchphrase. And that was pretty much it. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to praise this because of nostalgia. They're a bunch of suckers for nostalgia. People are allowed to have their opinions, but when I'm talking, I'm the tribal chief of the IWC here. And what I say is fact. And this is where I'm going to have to drop a fact on you. This is where I'm going to get a lot of hate because people do not have a leg to stand on when they try and counter-argument me, because there is nothing to counter-argue, because everything I say is gospel. This segment was an excellent segment, and I am not going to say otherwise. But for everyone that's jerking off to this at 3 a.m. in the morning, to everyone that is going out of their way and trying to say, oh man, this makes WrestleMania so much more unpredictable. It makes it so much more exciting. I'm not sure what you're watching. I'm not sure if you have a slight form of autism. I'm not sure that if you were dropped on your head as a child, but this one segment gave you WrestleMania in a nutshell. This one segment, you could just watch this one segment for 40 minutes. You do not have to watch anything else until after WrestleMania is over. I'm going to lay out the foundation for you how this is going to happen. I will lay this out for you. This 40-minute segment with The Rock and Roman Reigns and the Bloodline, they gave you the biggest spoiler that they could have given you for WrestleMania. There is no way, shape, or form that The Rock and Roman are going to lose. They're not. The Rock and Roman are not losing at WrestleMania. You know what's going to happen? The Rock and Roman Reigns are going to beat Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. Probably via Roman Reigns pinning Cody Rhodes to give Cody Rhodes more adversity going into WrestleMania night number 2. It will be Bloodline rules. Whether you want to try and convince yourself or not, they gave you the ending. It is going to be Bloodline rules because The Rock and Roman are going to beat Cody and Rollins. Then, with Bloodline rules being a part of the main event of WrestleMania, The Rock is going to have everything set up very nicely. It is going to be completely legal, no DQ. The Rock and Roman are going to surround Cody. The Rock and Roman are going to be stalking Cody. And out of nowhere, The Rock flips Roman around, delivers a rock bottom, walks away. The Rock is going to fuck over Roman. And after Rock fucks over Roman, Cody Rhodes is going to swoop in. Cody Rhodes is going to hit a crossroads. Cody Rhodes is going to be the new world champion. And after Cody wins the world title, The Rock is going to come out either on the Raw or the SmackDown right after Mania. He will have a segment with Roman, and we will get one of the marquee matches for WrestleMania 41. WrestleMania 41. Whether it be on night 1, whether it be on night 2. The Rock is going to challenge Roman, and we're going to get one of the marquee matches for WrestleMania 41 booked 1 year in advance. If it happens any other way, but that, I would be dead shocked. I would be dead shocked if it happens any other way. Please, do not. I don't give a fuck who you are. You can be a friend of mine, be a family member, you can be a fan. I don't give a fuck who you are. Please, do not try and come at me and tell me that this is unpredictable. It's not. They gave you the ending to this match at WrestleMania right then and there. This is as predictable as you can get. The Rock and Roman will win on night 1. Cody Rhodes is going to face more adversity than he's ever faced before. The Rock is going to fuck over Roman Reigns. The Rock is going to fuck over Roman Reigns, give Cody the world title. We will finally be free of this tribal chief bullshit. And then Roman and The Rock will be booked for next year's WrestleMania, whether it be in Cleveland, whether it be in Las Vegas, wherever it may be. WrestleMania next year, it's going to be The Rock and Roman Reigns with no title on the line. That is how it's going to play out. If it doesn't, I would be shocked. And please do not try and tell me otherwise. You can sit there and you could say that you like this segment with The Rock and Roman Reigns, but do not try and tell me that this makes things more exciting. It may have made things a little bit more exciting at first, but after this segment, the entire WrestleMania main event scene plan was revealed within 40 minutes. Rock and Roman will beat Cody and Rollins, probably with Roman pinning Cody on night one. Cody is going to be fighting an uphill battle with more adversity than ever. It's going to be Bloodline rules. The Rock and Roman are going to stalk Cody before The Rock spins Roman around, hits a rock bottom. Cody wins the world title, and then whether it be on Raw or SmackDown after Mania, Rock and Roman, they're going to make a WrestleMania 41 match official 1 year in advance, similar to what Rock did with Cena. If it happens any other way but that, I would be dead shocked. And once again, I will state, I don't care. I don't give a fuck. Just get the fucking title off of Roman. Just get it off of him. Just get it off. I don't give a fuck. It doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter what happens between now and WrestleMania. All that matters is that we get the fucking title off of Roman, because we cannot, and I've stated this before, we cannot truthfully start the process of change in the WWE until Roman Reigns is no longer the champion. Moving on here. Tiffany Stratton, she took on Naomi. Naomi didn't even get a fucking entrance because we needed 40 fucking minutes of The Rock and Roman Reigns to recite the same bullshit over and over again. But no. Oh, Rock, and Roman, and Rock's a member of the Bloodline. Retards. All of you are fucking retarded. Tiffany Stratton and Naomi. This was actually a very good match for what it was. It got about 10 minutes, and Naomi and Tiffany Stratton actually matched up very well together. Tiffany ends up getting the win with the prettiest moonsault ever. Slam Pigs podcast. Roman looks like a little kid standing next to The Rock. Well, let me tell you something. That's what happens when you have been on the juice for the majority of your 40s to 50s life. That's what happens when Dwayne Johnson has been taking that juice when he's in the gym. His workout isn't just a regular chest, triceps, and legs workout. It involves a needle. It involves a needle being injected into his veins. So Tiffany Stratton, she got a victory over Naomi. I'm not really sure where they're going, but if they want a big match for Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania, I would love to see Tiffany Stratton versus a Bianca Belair. Now that would be one hell of a match. That right there could very well be Tiffany Stratton's best match to date. That could very well top her match with Becky at No Mercy. Bayley and Dakota Kai. They took on the Kabuki Warriors. This really wasn't much of a match. This was more of an angle. We had Bayley going for the tag on Dakota Kai, but Dakota Kai jumped down from the apron. Dakota Kai jumped down from the apron, and it was a 4-on-1 beatdown. 4-on-1 beatdown. They left Bayley in the ring. They walked away laughing. Now, I kind of had a feeling that this was going to happen. But I'm not mad that this happened. And I'll tell you why. Dakota Kai turning on Bayley makes the story with Bayley that much more interesting. Because now Bayley has no friends. And Bayley, having no friends, being the character that she is right now with the fans behind her, this could very well result in Bayley going back to her original character, which I think should be the case. Bayley becoming the hugger Bayley again. You know, hug life Bayley. The wacky waving inflatable arm flailing Bayley buddies, that's the Bayley that everyone fell in love with. Not for nothing though, a lot of people would pop if we hear Bayley's classic theme song at WrestleMania 40. That right there would make the match that much more interesting. To get a different Bayley, the classic Bayley going up against Io Sky, that right there would be one hell of a moment for her at WrestleMania 40. Braun Breaker. He took on Zion Quinn, and this lasted legitimately 6 seconds. Not even 6 seconds, 5 seconds. 5 seconds, and Braun Breaker beats Zion Quinn. Spear in seconds, and Braun Breaker wins. Not really sure where Braun Breaker's going, though. I'm not really sure where Braun Breaker's going. Maybe he fights Logan Paul. Who knows? It all depends on what they want to have him do. Right now, he's 2-0. Right now, he's 2-0 on SmackDown. The best route for Braun Breaker, we're going to have to put him in some sort of storyline. I'm not really sure against whom. I don't really know against whom. I would love to see him against Orton. Personally, I'd love to see him against Orton. Maybe a Randy Orton. Maybe an AJ Styles after Styles is done with LA Knight. Maybe he does fight Logan Paul. Maybe a Grayson Waller or an Austin Theory. Someone. You got to give him someone. We had Santos Escobar. He took on Carlito in a street fight. This was a decent little street fight. Really nothing over the top. Really nothing too crazy. But we did get a decent little street fight. And the biggest thing that happened in the street fight resulted in the return of Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio came out, and Rey Mysterio hit a 619 on Santos Escobar, which allowed Carlito to take advantage and deliver a spine buster to Santos through the table. And we are getting Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar at WrestleMania. So it looks like we got ourselves a pretty nice looking WrestleMania card. We got Roman and Cody. We got Rollins and Drew McIntyre. We got the tag team match on night 1. Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch. Bayley and Io Sky. Logan Paul versus potentially a Randy Orton. We potentially see a Chad Gable, Sami Zayn, Damian Priest, a Dominic Mysterio, and a Gunther. Maybe we see a multi-man match for the Intercontinental title. I hope to God we see DIY versus Judgment Day for the tag team titles. And then we got Rey and Escobar. Looking like a pretty decent card to me. Then we got LA Knight and AJ Styles. Nice way to get those two on the card. Could be really, really good. Could be really, really good. You never know. Randy Orton, he took on Austin Theory. Decent little match right here. Nothing over the top. The best part about this match was the RKO. Not to say that it was a bad match, but Randy Orton and Austin Theory, they really don't have much of anything going on for each other. And if I'm going to be quite honest with you, they kind of shortchanged them for time. But that's what happens when you have a 40 fucking minute promo with The Rock and Roman Reigns. Regardless, the RKO with Austin Theory and Randy Orton, perhaps one of the smoothest RKOs I've seen in quite some time. So Theory, he went for a roll through where he rolls through in the ropes and he goes for a rolling drop kick. And we had the rolling drop kick, we had the roll, and as Theory jumped up into the air, Randy Orton timed it perfectly and caught Theory into a incredibly smooth, I'm talking about smooth like I can't believe it's not butter, RKO. Beautifully done. And Randy Orton gets the victory, 1, 2, 3. And afterwards, Kevin Owens saves Orton from a beatdown with Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, and Orton and Owens stand tall. That was pretty much that. And yes, Slam Pigs podcast, I did see that spot with the superplex. Randy Orton got his feet down in time. Randy Orton, fucking professional he is. When Randy Orton's gone, we're really going to miss that sense of professionalism in terms of an in-ring perspective when it comes to Randy Orton. Randy Orton, he knows where he needs to be. He knows where he needs to be when it comes to bell-to-bell action. $275. 275. I know. Randy Orton, he looks jacked. He looks jacked. I'm not really sure if he's 275 jacked, but he looks good. I'll give Randy Orton that. Not sure if he's 275, but he looks good. That was SmackDown for you. Not bad at all. The promo, listen, again, the promo was excellent. From an objectivity standpoint, it was an excellent promo with The Rock and Roman, but everything regarding this shit, it's predictable as fuck. It really is. Rampage. It was a pretty standard episode of Rampage. Not bad. Not a bad show. Rampage is never a bad show, but it definitely had a vibe of, all right, we're just trying to get to Revolution because there's really nothing more that they can do to build towards Revolution. We're at a point now where we're all just relaxing, we're sitting and we're waiting for Revolution, and we're going to wait and see what goes down at Revolution. That's pretty much it. But Rampage, we did have some decent matches on the show. We got Rugido versus Claudio Castagnoli. Again, more of the CMLL partnership. This was good. It was a good match. It didn't really do anything over the top or crazy. Both men looked good, and it was just a good match to begin the show. That was pretty much that. It was a good match with really no substance. So it was a very technical start. Rugido with a Hurricane Rana and a suicide dive. Claudio then flung Rugido out of the ring and then into the barricade. We had a slingshot guillotine into the ropes and then an arm drag off the top by Claudio. Coming back from commercial, we had a nice head scissor by Rugido and then a nice springboard moonsault to the floor. Claudio with an uppercut and a lariat. One more time, I will state again, you could not pay me enough money to take Claudio's uppercuts. Claudio's uppercuts and Gunther's chops, you could not pay me enough money to sit there and take. Unless I'm getting paid upwards to $5 billion, I will not run the risk of having my neck dislocated, or I will not run the risk of having my heart stopped by a fucking flare chop, okay? But Claudio with a lariat, that got a 2 count. We had a big overhead belly-to-belly suplex into the corner. Claudio actually got some air on that suplex. I'm not sure if that was on him or if that was on Rugido, but he got some air on that overhead belly-to-belly. We had a power slam by Rugido, arm drag by Rugido. Claudio then reversed the arm drag into the giant swing. Round and round we go. Hammer and anvil elbows, and then a neutralizer. Claudio gets the win, 1, 2, 3. Afterwards, this was actually great right here. This I loved. Afterwards, Claudio then went to show his praise to Rugido. He shook his hand, and then he launched him up in the air, and as he was coming down, he gave him the Nutcracker special with a knee right between the legs, and he gave him a low blow. Now that I love. I think that is such a hilarious way to be a prick. Just a little jump up in the air, and then as he's coming down, just a quick knee to the balls. It almost seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, like I am Italian. I don't know if the Italians did that shit back then, but whatever Claudio's doing, like that shit's funny. That shit is funny. Lance Archer and the Righteous, they took on a couple of bums. Lance Archer and the Righteous, they just destroyed these guys. I'm going to tell you this. We're going to have Bullet Club Gold versus the Acclaimed at some point. The Bang Bang Scissor Gang's not working. I'm just going to throw it out there. That shit is not working. The two personalities of Bullet Club and the Acclaimed, they do not gel together. We need this heel turn from the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. We need the Bullet Club Gold to go back to doing what they do, and we need a title-for-title match, ultimately resulting in Bullet Club Gold winning both sets of titles. And if I'm booking this, I am having this match take place at Supercard of Honor in April. I'm giving a showcase to both of those two trios, and I'm having Bullet Club Gold walk away with both sets of championships. That's what I'm doing. So, as far as Lance Archer and the Righteous goes, they should absolutely be trios champions at some point. They're fucking great together. They have a great look. They have a great vibe. It seems as though they found something for both of them that works. It's just a matter of getting them where they need to be now. Riho, she took on Trish Adora. I've been liking what Trish Adora's been doing. Trish Adora, she is coming along very nicely. She's got something. Trish Adora's got something. I'm not really sure where it came from, but ever since I started watching Trish Adora when Ring of Honor came into the picture, I watched her very, very closely, and I'm thinking to myself, man, she's really, really got something there. It's almost like she's waiting for the right opportunity to break out. And in recent months, I've been seeing her compete in some more high-profile matches, especially against women like Julia and other women like Athena and other big-time women like a Diamante, people like that. Trish Adora, she can hang. Trish Adora can hang. And this was actually a pretty decent women's match. Listen, you can have your opinions on Riho, but Riho's a very good wrestler. And when you fight Riho, you're going to have to step up your game. And these two actually put on a very decent match here. So, Riho was in control early. Riho delivered a diving crossbody to the floor. Riho's crossbodies are very good. That much I will say. She may look like she'll break within just you touching her, just a poke, like a fucking finger poke of doom. She may look like she may crumble just from a finger poke, but Riho, that fucking tiny lady's durable. That fucking tiny lady, she does not have any fear. She'll do diving crossbody, she'll do crucifix bombs, she'll do fucking double stomps. She'll go out there and wrestle. So, diving crossbody to the floor. Trish Adora, she took over with a spinning backbreaker, which looked very, very nice. Coming back from commercial, we had a stun gun on the ropes by Riho, diving crossbody off the top for a 2 count. Head scissor takedown, 619, Northern Light suplex for a 2. We then had a punt kick by Trish Adora. Trish Adora's got a very nice punt kick. She went for a diving senton, but she missed. Riho then with a crucifix bomb, which looked awesome. That got a 2 count. We had a running Meteora, and Riho gets the win, 1, 2, 3. We had Ruby Soho and Angelo Parker. They were getting set to go on a date. Again, a very inconsequential segment. Nothing came out of it other than Zach Knight, Saraya's brother. I've been watching Zach Knight on Ring of Honor, and I am going to throw this out there right now. Zach Knight is a better wrestler than Saraya. Not to say that Saraya is bad. Because Saraya, she's not the best. I'm not going to come out here and say that, oh my God, I can't wait to go and watch a Saraya match. Saraya is a decent wrestler, but I take a look at Zach Knight, and I'm wondering, why the fuck hasn't this guy gotten signed sooner? Zach Knight, he's got something going for himself. He's got a lot of intensity. He's got a lot of agility. He's got a great look. The guy looks like a badass motherfucker. The guy looks like a guy that you do not want to meet in a fucking alleyway. The guy has got a very nice makeup for himself. And he's not just a stereotypical big guy. He's not. I've seen what he can do on Ring of Honor. The guy can do springboard forearms and moonsaults. The guy's got one hell of a fucking right hand. He could do a fucking razor's edge onto the buckle. He's got something there. So if they want to build up Zach Knight as a solid mid-carder, they could do that. But Saraya, she had Zach Knight knock out Angelo Parker, I believe with a crowbar or a monkey wrench. And then Saraya then leaned down towards Ruby Soho and said, "You needed me, bitch." Really nothing as per usual. The only positive here is the fact that we could get a Saraya versus Ruby Soho match, which I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind that whatsoever because Soho, she's a very good wrestler. Saraya is a decent wrestler. We'll get a decent match. And, I mean, Zach Knight, listen, if we're going to see Zach Knight wrestle on TV, I got no problem with that because Zach Knight's a very good wrestler. We'll wait and see how it plays out, but at the end of the day, it continues to be a very inconsequential storyline, a meaningless storyline. The only positive about this as of right now, aside from the inevitable Saraya and Soho match, the one positive about it is the fact that it's not overexposed. The one positive about this is the fact that it only takes up 60 seconds of television time per week. And if it's going to be, if it has to be on TV, I'd much rather it be 60 seconds versus 15 minutes of time. And then in the main event, we had Magnus, another CMLL guy, take on Matt Sydal. And Magnus, he didn't look too bad. Magnus didn't look too bad. It was a very fast-paced start. Matt Sydal, he's been working a little bit more of a faster pace as of lately. So Matt Sydal was kicked off of the ropes. Both men traded forearms. We had a kick to the head. Magnus was then caught by Matt Sydal with a diving Meteora. Magnus, then he was on the top buckle. And Matt Sydal, he went for a Hurricane Rana, but Magnus moved, and Matt Sydal crashed in a heap on the buckle, fell to the floor. Magnus then with an Andrade El Idolo style double knees right to the side of the head, and Magnus pins Matt Sydal 1, 2, 3, and he is going to the All-Star Scramble to see who's getting a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship, and that was pretty much it. That was pretty much that. Very standard episode of Rampage, really nothing over the top, nothing too crazy. But ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got for you. We're wrapping it up a little bit closer to 2 hours. That wraps up this edition of the Lightning Flash Update. I would like to thank each and every single one of you who tuned into the stream. I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you. You are all fantastic, and I could not ask for a better fan base. Rest in peace to Virgil, by the way. Rest in peace to Virgil. He was a very cool cat. He was a cool cat, and he was a big part of a lot of people's childhoods. So rest in peace to Virgil. Thoughts and prayers go out to the family and friends of Mike Jones, a.k.a. Virgil. Till next time, people, you already know the drill. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out all those links in the description of this very video. On Monday, Hoolagrim is going to be coming back on my channel one more time. Hoolagrim is going to be coming back on my channel for the Rewind for Revolution. And I'm sure we're going to have a lot of good material to talk about, as Revolution, it looks to be one of the most important shows that AEW has ever done, with 16,000 strong in attendance. Sting's last match, a three-way for the world title, Will Ospreay and Takeshita. We got ourselves Daniel Garcia. I'm hoping that Daniel Garcia gets his big moment. Roddy and Orange Cassidy, Eddie and Brian, Blackpool Combat Club and FTR. Plenty of good material. Tony Storm and Deonna Purrazzo. We're headed down one hell of a barrel going towards Revolution. It's going to be big. And we got Okada and Mercedes coming in after Revolution. So AEW is going to be trying to gain some more momentum, as WWE, they have their shit going into WrestleMania. Special Monday stream at 2 p.m., people. Do not miss it. Like, comment, and subscribe. Check out all those links in the description. You already know what goes down here on the DJ Storms brand. I'm DJ Storms. This has been the Lightning Flash Update. You come here for objectivity and facts. And before we get out of here, people, you already know what to do. You got to tell me what the drill is here. Who runs the IWC? As I take a sip of my ice water. I'll tell ya who runs the IWC. Who but DJ motherfucking Storms. And don't you ever forget it.
Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.